Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling something many skilled newcomers to Canada run into almost immediately. It's that demand for Canadian experience.
Yes, the classic catch-22. It's incredibly frustrating, isn't it? You land here, you've got maybe years of great experience from somewhere else, you're eager to jump in.
And then you hear, sorry, need Canadian experience. But how do you get the experience if you can't get the job? It feels like this impossible loop.
Exactly, a never-ending cycle for so many people. But, the important thing to remember is that thousands of people do break through this. It's not about luck.
It's about strategy and persistence, I mean.
Absolutely. Really focused, tailored strategies. And that's our mission today, right? We want to unpack maybe the top 6 ways people successfully show their value to Canadian employers and land that first really meaningful job here.
Okay, let's do it. We're aiming to give you that playbook, that shortcut guide to building credibility here, basically turning your international background into something Canadian employers recognize. Where do we start?
Well, I think the most accessible starting point, something you can also do quite quickly, is strategic volunteering. Strategy number 1.
Strategic volunteering. Okay, let's dig into that because the key word there is strategic. You're saying this isn't just about, helping out anywhere.
No. Definitely not. It needs to be targeted. Look, volunteering, even just a few hours a week, is powerful because it puts you in a Canadian work context.
Okay.
Your international experience shows your technical skills, sure, but volunteering strategically, it shows you understand the softer side, Canadian workplace culture.
Like meeting styles, how people communicate professionally?
Exactly. Punctuality, email etiquette, all that. Yeah. Plus, and this is huge, it gets you local references, people here who can speak to your work ethic. And third, it just shows you're committed, you're proactive.
So give me an example. If you're, say, an accountant back home, you shouldn't just volunteer at the local animal shelter.
Probably not for career purposes, no. You should try to find a nonprofit that needs help with maybe their bookkeeping or financial reporting, even if it's basic stuff. Align it with your skills.
Or schools nearby, right? Like communications, admin.
Precisely. High-level admin, maybe grant writing support, research assistance for a charity. We saw this great example, actually, of someone aiming for a communications role. They started volunteering remotely, just writing grant proposals for a small nonprofit.
And that led somewhere.
Directly. That portfolio piece, the reference they got, it helped them land a paid communications job. It's that first foot in the door.
That makes total sense. But okay, let's be real. For someone new here, maybe working a survival job, trying to get settled, finding 10, 15 hours a week for unpaid work, that's a big ask.
It is. It's a heavy lift, no question. You really have to frame it as a short-term investment, a very specific goal.
So how do you make it count?
Discipline. Treat that volunteer role exactly like a paid job. Be on time, be professional, deliver what you promise. Even just a few months of that gives you something concrete, local experience for your resume.
And there are resources to find these roles.
Oh, yeah. Look at local immigrant serving agencies. They often have connections. Volunteer Canada also has tools specifically for newcomers. They can help you find something high impact without demanding, 40 hours a week.
Okay, good tip. So volunteering gives you that practical, on-the-ground feel. What's next? How do you formalize that local competence?
That brings us nicely to strategy number 4, which is all about acquiring Canadian credentials, courses, or certifications.
Right, so this isn't necessarily going back to university for 4 years.
Not always, no. Even if your field isn't regulated, you're not trying to be a doctor or an engineer where you must recertify doing some short-term Canadian training. Sends a really strong signal.
What kind of signal?
It tells employers, I'm serious. I understand. I need to know how things are done here in this market. It shows commitment and local competence.
So what kind of short courses are we talking about? What's most effective?
Think about filling specific gaps. Maybe a bridging program designed for newcomers in your field. Or industry-specific certifications that are really common here. Project management, like PMP, is a big one. Digital marketing certificates, data analytics tools.
Things employers recognize instantly.
Exactly. And don't forget language. If your English or French needs a boost, programs like LINC, Language Instruction for Newcomers to Canada, are valuable not just for the language, but also signal integration efforts.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
What about tech skills? If you use different software back home?
Oh, crucial point. Canada relies heavily on certain platforms, especially in fields like tech, finance, even admin. You need to show the tools used here.
So online courses.
Absolutely. Platforms like Coursera, LinkedIn Learning, NDX, they're perfect for quickly mastering specific software or tech skills relevant to the Canadian market. It gives you something very concrete to list on your resume and talk about.
Okay, so you've got some volunteer experience, maybe a Canadian certificate. Now you need to get that interview, which leads us to the resume itself. Strategy number 2, tailoring your resume for Canada. This seems like a major stumbling block.
It's huge. Honestly, so many qualified people fall down right here. If you come from a place where a long, detailed CV curriculum vitae is standard, maybe 4, 5, even more pages.
You need to change up fast.
Completely. Canadian employers, recruiters, they want concise, clear, usually no more than 2 pages, max.
You call it a resume, right? Never a CV.
Always resume. But it's more than just length and name. It's a fundamental shift in what you put on it. It's moving away from just listing your duties towards quantifying your value, your accomplishments. Your resume needs to answer the employer's real question, which is, what results did you achieve? What can you do for me?
Okay, can you give an example? How do you turn a typical duty into a Canadian-style accomplishment?
Sure. Let's say back home your resume said, responsible for managing the sales team and client database. Okay, that tells me what you did, sort of.
But it's passive.
Exactly. Weak. A stronger Canadian version would be something like, led a team of 5 sales reps exceeding quarterly targets by 15%, or revamped client database entry process, reducing errors by 30% and boosting lead generation efficiency. See the difference?
Numbers, percentages, dollar amounts if possible, showing impact.
Precisely. You have to show the benefit you brought. How did you make things better, faster, cheaper? That's what catches their eye.
And if your background is quite specialized, how do you make sure they see the relevance?
That's where transferable skills come in. Your resume needs to highlight those core abilities that work anywhere. Project management, teamwork, leadership, problem solving, customer service, adaptability.
Skills that show you can fit into any Canadian workplace, essentially.
Exactly. Those are the bridges between your international success and the job you want here.
Okay, that resume advice is gold. But even with the world's best resume, we know the reality here is, well, networking. Many jobs aren't even advertised.
Oh, absolutely. The hidden job market is real. So many roles get filled through referrals, through internal connections. Which brings us to strategy number 3. You have to build your network, deliberately.
Who you know really matters. Maybe as much as what you know.
Often, yes. It can get your resume looked at, get you past that initial screening. So networking isn't just a nice to have, it's really essential.
So how does a newcomer start building a network from scratch? It can feel intimidating. Is he just going to events and collecting business cards?
That's part of it, maybe, but it needs to be more targeted. Think quality over quantity. Use LinkedIn proactively. Don't just scroll jobs. Find people in companies or industries you're interested in.
And then what? Just connect?
Send a personalized connection request. Mention something specific, maybe an article they wrote, a project their company did. Show you've done your homework. Then, yes, local industry meetups, professional associations, virtual events, get involved.
And you mentioned a specific tactic, the informational interview.
Yes. This is such a powerful, underused technique. The key is you're not asking for a job.
You're asking for advice.
Exactly. You reach out and say, I'm new to Canada. I admire your work in X field. Could I possibly have 15, 20 minutes of your time for an informational interview? I'd love to hear your insights on the industry here.
And people are generally willing to do that?
Much more willing than if you just ask for a job. People like sharing their expertise. It's low pressure. You learn a ton about the local market and you make a connection. It might not lead to a job that day, but it expands your network.
That's a great tip. Are there formal programs to help with this?
Yes. Some government-funded initiatives exist, like Canada Connects, which actually pairs newcomers with established Canadians for networking and mentorship. Definitely look into resources like that.
Which ties right into the next strategy, doesn't it? Strategy 5, using settlement and employment services.
Absolutely. These agencies are set up specifically to help newcomers integrate into the job market. Don't overlook them.
What kind of practical help do they offer?
All the crucial stuff. Resume workshops often focus specifically on that Canadian style we talked about, quantifying achievements. Interview coaching, practicing common Canadian interview questions and styles. Mentorship programs connecting you with people in your field.
And crucially, they often have direct links to employers, right?
Yes. Many have relationships with companies that are actively looking to hire newcomers, companies that understand the value of international experience, but also the challenges, so they can provide direct referrals, which can be invaluable.
You name an example.
Well, it varies by city, of course, but organizations like, say, the Learning Enrichment Foundation, LEF, in Toronto, are well known for strong job readiness programs and connecting skilled immigrants with employers. You need to research what's available in your local area.
And beyond the formal agencies.
Don't underestimate community support. Online forums like the Canada Visa Forums, Facebook groups for newcomers in your city or profession. These can be amazing places to get real-time advice, share leads, find out about companies hiring. It's that collective wisdom.
So leverage all the support systems, formal and informal.
Definitely. You need every advantage.
Okay, that leads us to the final strategy, number 6. And this one, I think, requires maybe the biggest mental shift for some people. It's about starting with transitional or even entry-level roles.
Yeah, this could be tough psychologically. If you were, say, a senior manager back home, the idea of taking an administrative assistant job or a data entry role, it feels like a huge step backward.
How do you frame that so it doesn't feel like you're just, stuck at a lower level permanently?
You have to see it for what it is, a strategic entry point, a launch pad. It's not your final destination. It's the tactic you use to get your foot in the door of the Canadian system.
What makes it strategic?
It gets you on a Canadian payroll. It starts building that essential Canadian work history. It gives you Canadian references. And it exposes you to the workplace culture firsthand.
So what kind of roles work well as these launch pads?
Think about roles like administrative assistant, project coordinator, customer service representative, data clerk. Often these roles touch multiple parts of a business.
Okay, but you get the job as a data clerk. How do you make sure you eventually get back to being, say, the finance expert you were before? That's the key, isn't it?
Absolutely. The real strategy starts after you're hired into that transitional role. It's about what you do internally.
Meaning
you look for opportunities, even small ones, to volunteer within the company for tasks that use your higher level skills. It's like inter-company volunteering.
Ah, interesting. So the finance expert working as a data clerk offers to help the finance team analyze a spreadsheet on the side.
Exactly. Or maybe helps draft a small report or research something for a manager. You gently, professionally showcase your real expertise. You're getting paid for the data clerk job, but you're demonstrating and hopefully getting acknowledged for your finance skills.
And collecting evidence and maybe even internal references that speak to those higher skills.
That's the goal. And you have to be meticulous. Track everything. Even in that entry-level role, find ways to measure your impact. Did you improve a process? Save time. Make something more efficient. Quantify it. Streamlined report generation, reducing time by 15%, that kind of thing.
So that entry-level job becomes documented proof of your capabilities in a Canadian context, setting you up for the next job, the one closer to your target.
Precisely. It's a launch pad, not a landing spot.
Okay, so wrapping this all up, the big message seems clear. Getting past that Canadian experience hurdle isn't about waiting. It's active. It involves weaving together these strategies.
Right. The strategic volunteering, the Canadian-style resume focusing on results, the deliberate networking, getting relevant local credentials or courses, using those settlement services, and being smart about using transitional roles.
It's a combination approach.
Definitely. It takes effort, but it creates a pathway. And thinking about that transitional role, that launch pad, we talked about using those internal volunteer tasks to show your true skills.
Right, demonstrating your higher value while in the entry role.
So here's something for you, the listener, to think about. How do you strategically track and then articulate those unpaid internal volunteer tasks you take on inside that first job? How do you make sure they translate powerfully onto your next resume to really maximize that jump towards your ultimate career goal?
Something to really consider as you plan your strategy. How to quantify those informal contributions. Great food for thought. We'll see you next time.